speaking of that, we
Okay,
have
we are
a
on.
Adventure Zone fic now.
We read chapter 1 last time, in which Angus McDonald. This fic is like, all right, post Taz. Now we have to deal with who, like, what the fuck is going on with Angus's whole family since his grandfather's dead and we know nothing about any of the rest of his family. And apparently he has some abusive aunts that are potentially going to be fighting over this poor child. And also, Taco is going to be protective of Angus because, of course, he is.
Of course.
A human is the brain.
Do not at all care who I read because I know nothing about the Adventure Zone. The only thing I remember is Bucky was doing Taco last time. And I think I was doing the narrator, but I wouldn't mind.
I think you were doing the narrator and we were doing the,
We were
What do you
doing the
mean log
voice.
into Twitch?
Oh,
Uh,
Oh, because I've changed my Twitch password. Since the... Oh, God, what the fuck did I change it to? I changed all the passwords recently. Alright, can somebody else put the fucking link in the chat?
yes, I
what
can
link?
do that.
Oh,
For the
link
fic that we're reading right now.
I
I'm
got
gonna
it,
address
I got
that
it,
off
I got
air.
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I need to pull up LastPass and get my password
Are
out
you
of there.
sure that you don't just want to give your password out on twitch.tv/WillItHomestuck?
My ultra secure password 1234.
Oh, also, here's the front, here's all the numbers on the front of my credit card and the 3 numbers on the back of it. And...
Yeah.
Alright.
My social security number is 99999.
0413 06112. Nope, 0612. It's not 112. Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, right. So what we did last time was Janaya did the narration. I did all the McElroy voices because I do an okay taco.
I wouldn't mind handing narration off to the Belmonts for this one.
I can do that.
At the very least, I'm gonna narrate my own fic later. So, I don't know. I can like pick up random voices on Violet. Maybe I don't know who the hell's talking in this one.
Yeah. We've got, well, Aunt Violet wouldn't have a canon voice anyway, so that doesn't matter, because she's
an OC.
Yeah,
I'll
Violet
do
and
Aunt
Lauren
Violet.
are OCs.
I guess...
And then we've got Taco. And
you got
Angus.
Taco, you got Angus, you're doing Angus, and you doing all the character voices.
And Magnus. I can do the ones that have, like, canon voices if you want to do the ones that don't.
Sure, who doesn't have a canon voice?
The aunts, Violet and Lauren.
I'll do Violet and Lauren.
And then I could do Angus and Taco because I...
Cool.
Rye, don't... Hey, Rye, you just said dox yourself, but, like, Rye. Batsy with the newspaper.
1, 2, 3, 5. You need to put an exclamation mark after it.
Do we have... Oh yeah, the content warnings for this, it is rated mature, and I think mostly because of there's some, there's discussion of child abuse, but it's off-screen, non-explicit, there's emotional manipulation and poison involved.
Oh.
This is 30 chapters and 100, almost 110,000 words, so, the author promises us that it will end happy, but they do a hits on Magnus at regular intervals, sorry.
Okay.
I say Magnus, I think I meant Angus. Angus is 12. Oh. Or 11? I'm just a little boy.
Just a little boy.
I'm the world's greatest detective. That's not quite Angus. Hi, I'm Angus, and I'm the world's greatest detective.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hi,
So, like...
I'm Angus McDonald, and I'm your very best friend. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, Belmonts.
All right. Let me take a big sip first.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. The Goldcliff Courthouse was big, gaudy, and marbled. In other words, a plain Goldcliff building. Lawyers and clients entered and exited the building at all times. Goldcliff was a big city with big lawsuits. Angus sat just inside the courthouse waiting to be called into a small hearing room. His case was being processed carefully. As a minor character in the Void... I'm sorry, hold on. As a minor character... That's just a sentence I wasn't expecting. As a minor character in the Voidfish broadcast, this was an awfully big case. Some gossips gathered outside to see if anyone famous would testify, maybe even one of the birds. That would be a show, wouldn't it? The attention left a sour taste in Angus's mouth. This wasn't a show, this was his life. It was just a consultation. No decisions would be made today. Everything was going to be fine. He had to keep telling himself that. Even though he was the world's greatest detective, he wasn't able to convince the judge to allow him to claim his own custody. He was only 11 years old. Angus MacDonald needed a legal guardian, no matter how smart and self-sufficient he was. It's not as if Angus could buy a house or get a job while he was in school. Angus needed support. He was, however, allowed to put in a preference: Aunt Violet or Aunt Lauren. Angus abstained from giving an answer immediately, claiming he wanted to see the facts laid out in the hearing. But honestly, he didn't have a preference. Either option was bad. No, he had to take his mind off of this. Angus opened the journal Taco had given him. Mulling over this cipher would burn some time. He checked the letters, seeing if he could find any patterns. A, J, D, P. He couldn't find anything that jumped out to him. There wasn't any code or key in the back either. This was Taco. It would be disappointing if it was a simple cipher. Angus checked to see if he could find the word the, but every 3-letter word was different. That's strange. This excluded a few ciphers, not a Caesar cipher, or any other simple substitution ciphers. Angus stopped once he felt a hand on his shoulder.
Hello, Aunt Violet.
Angus said to a woman in her mid-30s, dressed in fancy violet business wear. She looked very much like Angus, the way her nose turned down and the fullness in her cheeks, the roundness in her eyes, the tight coiled curls in her hair. Violet was a put-together type of beautiful, always manicured, clean, and crisp. She moved with purpose, sort of like Lucretia, but without the warmness in her voice or her body genuine laugh. Oh no. Angus couldn't start thinking about the director here. He already missed the moon base.
Good morning, Angus. No fears. I will personally ensure that woman never touches you again.
Violet kissed Angus on the forehead. It felt clinical, forced, like she had to.
That's a very nice thing for you to say, Aunt Violet.
Violet held Angus by the side of the head and positioned him to lean against her. He didn't. He wasn't in a good mental place to get a hug right now, but for Violet's sake, he returned the gesture. It was always a little disappointing to be with Aunt Violet. Angus was smart enough to make his own schedule long ago, but she insisted on him doing things on her own time. Throwing off Angus's rhythm, things were to be done her way, at her time, to her pleasure. And he really wasn't in the mood to be touched right now by this woman. But she wanted it and got it.
Whose line is this? Is this Lauren's line or is this
I think
someone
it's
else?
Lauren's, yeah.
Hey, hands off, bitch!
A second woman had walked into the hall. She was older than Violet, but dressed like she was 20. She was not Angus' blood relative, an in-law, married to his uncle, but then divorced. Somehow, still trying to barge in on Angus' life.
Okay, so we have Aunt Umbridge and Aunt Vriska is what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, basically.
God, okay. Hello, Aunt Lauren.
Angus said to the second woman with less enthusiasm. At least this was an excuse to stop hugging Violet. Aunt Lauren nodded silently, handing Angus a stale candy bar. The expiration date was for 2 months ago. That's Aunt Lauren. If Violet was too controlling, then Lauren just plumb didn't care. Angus had lived under her roof for 2 years, never saw her exert any sort of parental care. Sure, Angus was a bright boy, but he was still a boy. He never found any support or comfort in Aunt Lauren. She treated him like an adult, but he wasn't. He still needed a childhood. He deserved that.
Bribing him, Lauren?
Asked Violet, pulling Angus close to her again.
At least I give him nice things, Violet.
Answered Lauren, with the least subtle passive-aggressive tone.
Well, I wasn't the one who took my eyes off him and allowed him to be initiated into a cult.
The Bureau isn't a cult, ma'am.
Angus chimed in, but was ignored.
Kid wasn't initiated. He was kidnapped. How could I have prevented that?
Violet and Lauren argued over Angus until a young paralegal stepped out into the hallway. She carried a stack of files and led the family into a small private room. The paralegal had a seat for Angus next to her. Across the desk, his aunts sat next to each other. Oh, wait, hold on. This is just like a paralegal voice. Okay. Good morning. Well, today isn't very exciting, but hopefully we can avoid another hearing or a trial altogether if this goes well,
I'm not backing down.
Lauren said, shutting the paralegal down.
I am not either.
Added Violet. Okay, I suppose we can start negotiations, and then we will have to set a date for the hearing. The paralegal adjusted her glasses, reading over the case file. So it looks like 3 parties are vying to obtain legal custody over you, Angus McDonald,
3?
said Violet and Lauren, together equally shocked. 3? Who else could have asked for custody? Angus ran a list through his head. It couldn't be his uncle, and his grandfather had already passed, unless his parents suddenly shot out from obscurity. There weren't any other family members Angus could go to. Was there a distant cousin that had heard about him on the broadcast? There was no way Angus could live with somebody he didn't know. Too many variables, too much room for error. Angus would have to put out his preference early to explicitly say that he didn't want to be with this distant relative. Yes, 3. Violet McDonald, Lauren McDonald, and... The paralegal adjusted her glasses, reading the paper over again to see if this really was the correct name. Taco from TV? The name glazed over Angus. Did he mishear?
I'm sorry. Who is that?
Paralegal showed the file to Angus. And yes, right there, Taco's signature. Taco, you know, from TV? You know him. Angus, I know you know him. We all heard the story. Of course Angus knew him. He was just speaking to him yesterday. Why would he file for custody? And why wasn't he here? Taco wasn't a dad. He wasn't a parent. This was strange. Angus thought the world of Taco, but admiring somebody and becoming their legal responsibility are 2 completely different things. Taco is still reeling from regaining his memories, and was he even in the correct state of mind to adopt a child? All of Angus's questions were thrown out as soon as the door to the office opened. Standing in the doorframe was Taco, from TV. He wasn't dolled up like he usually was, either. He was a mess? No, he looked fine. It just wasn't the Taco brand. All his jewelry and rings were gone. No weapons or magic items. Still weird seeing him without the Umbra staff. Somebody had combed out and slicked back his hair and put him in a suit? Somehow it was fitted, but still 2 sizes too big and... Oh no. Did he borrow that from Kravitz? Either way, he did not look comfortable. He looked almost as if Taco was trying to look normal. Somehow, seeing him like this allowed Angus to put some faith in Taco. I think this is introspection, so Bucky, you should read it.
He's taking this seriously. He means it. Don't ask why. Just accept that there's a 3rd option now.
Taco pulled up a 3rd chair, sitting down in between Violet and Lauren without acknowledging them. Both aunts were offended. This guy in charge of Angus? Sure, they knew who he was and everything about him. But there's no way in hell he could take care of a child. Angus could see it on his face. Taco was nervous. His smile said, I don't know what I'm doing. His hand said, am I supposed to be here? His eyes said, there's so much at stake here. His knee bounced up and down nervously. His fingers fidgeted. His ears were down. It was baffling seeing Taco like this. Finally, he sputtered out a few words.
Sorry for being late. I didn't know what room you had my boy in.
My boy. Paralegal glanced over at Angus, and then wrote a few sentences in the file. It took Angus a moment to realize he was grinning. Taco raised his voice again, unsettled in his seat.
So do I just take him and go, or...?
No, sir, you have to come back for hearings and court appearances until we reach a verdict, the paralegal chuckled. Even as a nervous wreck, Taco charmed everyone around him. It might take a few months.
That's fine, I'm in it for the long game.
You think it's some kind of game?
Violet said, finally snapping.
This is a child. You baby him too much.
Lauren cut in.
He can take care of himself, you know. He's 11 years old, Lauren. He solves murders.
I mean, she's got a point. He does solve murders.
Self of breath, you're not wrong. You can't just put a Taco in a suit.
Lauren and Violet spiraled each other into a shouting match, with Taco caught in the middle. Both aunts shouted over him, causing him to sink into his seat a bit. He had only been in this meeting for 2 minutes, and Angus could already see how exhausted he was. Taco actively avoided situations like this. The paralegal shushed the aunts in getting the meeting back on track. Given the relationship between your aunts, we're going to assign you to live with a foster family until this is all settled. There were a lot of volunteers, considering you were in the broadcast, but I think I found the most suitable one. The paralegal stood up, leaving the room. I'll be right back. Just fetching your temporary guardian. The paralegal left, and immediately the air in the office felt like it was made of stone. The aunts were staring holes into Taco. Taco fiddled with his horribly gelled hair. Angus drummed fingers on his briefcase. There was silence. Terrifying silence. Hostile silence. And then,
Magnus!
a burly brick house of a man punched. Hold on, did he just... Oh, wait, hold on, that's you.
Hold on, did he just punch the door open?
Magnus punched the door open. The aunts, again, terrified. Another bird? Another celebrity to keep Angus away from them? Taco was also terrified, but for a different reason. He didn't know Magnus was going to be here. Seeing him like this, he didn't think anyone would know about this. It was supposed to stay a secret. This was so... Oh, right, that's you.
This was so... Oh, wait, no, that's... This was so embarrassing.
Angus was delighted knowing he wouldn't be staying with a stranger. The paralegal explained that Magnus was staying in a rental house in Goldcliff until he was able to make a permanent residence in Ravensroost again. So he would be the perfect guardian of Angus. At least, until the trial was over. Magnus called Angus to him, and the boy happily ran over. Legally, the three of you won't be able to know Angus's address, but you are allowed to contact Magnus. You are allowed to contact Magnus and ask for a visitation. But he has to be present for all of them, and you need to keep a record of who visits and how long. That meant Magnus could be called in as a witness in court if the aunts did anything funny. And of course, if you want to visit anybody, Angus nodded.
Yes, ma'am. I'll let Magnus know.
Quick to learn. So the next time we're all meeting, the paralegal informed them of a few dates and left them outside the courthouse. Lauren left first. No words. Violet hugged Angus, saying a few empty promises about getting him away from these people. Taco tried to leave without any fanfare, to just run back to the hotel he was staying at. But Magnus...
Taco? I didn't know you filed for custody.
Oof. Taco turned to see Magnus, arm around Angus, waving politely towards him.
Yeah?
Taco.
Did that get picked up?
I don't think so.
Oh. Yeah?
Magnus was grinning, getting up in Taco's personal space, an intimidation tactic he cultivated on the Star Blaster, and then remembered recently. Of course the wizard ducked the fuck out of the way, walking backwards with a sense of grace that Angus thought he'd lost after being so embarrassed in that meeting.
You never struck me as a dad, Taco. Fuck you, I'm not doing it because I want a kid. Angus is a delicate magic boy, he can't be left with those train wrecks. Does your boyfriend know? None of your business! What?
His voice...
Oops, sorry.
His climbing in pitch, cracking at the end of each sentence.
When did you get so nosy?
Taco wished he had his hat so he could pull it over his head.
Sir, you know you don't have to do this, right?
Taco sputtered. He was trying to say something, but it wasn't coming out.
Don't worry about me, Agnes. I know what I'm doing.
That would have to do.
Hey, Angus, I saw a bakery on the way here. Want to go get something to take back to the house?
Magnus asked, patting Angus on the back.
Yes, sir.
Magnus caught Taco as he was trying to sneak away.
Taco? What? Did you want to come too?
Taco blinked.
No, he's yours to take out. That's your job right now.
Fuck, what was he saying? Magnus shrugged. He and Angus waved Taco goodbye and walked down the sidewalk away from Taco. That jabbing feeling came back and struck Taco's heart. Stop it. He ruffled his hair so it wasn't goofy and slicked back anymore, called Barry on a stone of far speech, and left to go be with family. Oh, this is amazing.
God,
this
this
is
is
good.
Really-
This is incredible. A Ghost Raven, you're right. This really is just one of those slams adoption papers on desk type of fanfiction, except it's 30 chapters long. So it's more like slams adoption papers on court table. This is courtroom drama time. Like it says the first two tags are custody battle and legal drama.
Incredible.
God, that was very good.
Amazing.